afraid of what may change. And that's a tricky one, because I've lived that in my own life, where there's often consequences to speaking full truth. Sometimes people won't talk to you again. Sometimes people want to fire you and just get rid of you. But I feel it's always the highest choice to stay true to self. And recently there was somebody on Facebook talking about how he had been really bashed for being gay, and that all these people with all this like equal marriage rights stuff happening, that there was a lot of people still going off on it, and that he made a statement on his wall and said, I care about you guys, and if you don't care about my well-being as a person, and you think that you all deserve healthcare, but I don't deserve the same needs being met because I'm gay, he says, I have a problem with that, and that if that's the case, I may get to a point where I'm going to have to block some of you and unfriend you, and I just am kind of warning you ahead of time. And I was really proud of him to speak that truth. But we got into some stuff where people were kind of projecting about religion and what sin is, what's right or wrong. And the statement I made on there was, I first offered reverence to his journey, because I could understand at my own soul level what it feels like to be betrayed, and what it feels like to have others try to lash out and hurt you because you dare to be different than they say you should be. And the consequence of being true to self can be pretty high in some people's movies, but it really matters the most. It is the most important thing to be true to self. When we try to trick ourselves, we're like, oh, I can just work for this corporation and pretend I don't really mind that they're slaughtering all these animals in a very cruel way because I make so much money. Or I can just work for this corporation, pretend I don't know that they're making these harsh chemicals that are actually harming people because I make so much money, so I'm just going to pretend I don't know that. It's really tricky to lie to yourself like that, and the consequence of just being seduced by money and power, it doesn't really last, and you still feel uneasy in yourself when you're making choices like this. And so I feel when people get into throwing the sin bomb with religion, like, you're a sinner, you're this, you're that, the sin to me, if you look at really the definition of that, I feel the highest sin we could create would be to deny our own voice and to not really take a stand for what matters to us, to sit by and blindly observe injustice happening and do nothing and say nothing. And I feel like when we don't show up in our day, moment to moment, authentic and empowered and truthful, that in a sense we sell our soul every moment. And so today, that's what I want to focus on is, are those of you that are watching ready to take that stand? And do you see, have you learned enough? Have you suffered enough to see how vital and important that is to actually showing up and being present and authentic? And how much that shift can change your experience of life in every way. Your sense of ease, your sense of presence and peace will shift greatly as you show up and are being true to self. And when we're not doing that, how uneasy you feel, how anxious you feel, how terrified you feel, and how easy it is that you allow others to control your energy. So I'm going to take a pause and see if anybody's writing in or wants to call in. Again, that number is 919-518-9773 if you want to call in. Anything coming in, Amnon?
Nope.
Okay. Well, what's up, guys? Talk to me. So Amnon, we sometimes have to chat to encourage them too. So
sure.
From what I was just saying, in your own personal movie, have you found that there was times where you felt led to speak your truth or take a stand in some way, and that there was sometimes a consequence to that? And what did you feel was important about that? Like, was it okay to just pretend you didn't notice, or was it really important that you took a stand?
I was watching the chat for a second.
Okay.
And somebody's calling in. Hold on a second.
Oh, cool. We got off the hook.
No, I want to come back to it. Hi, who's there?
Hi, this is Sarah.
Sarah, you need to mute the video on the computer. If you look at the bottom of the video, there is a speaker or there's a volume. Turn it all the way down.
All right, got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yay, better.
Woo.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, how's it going, girl?
Good, long time no see. Her and I felt like we were going to die together today on a hike because it was so freaking hot.
It was a good spot, but it was a little warm.
Yeah, we're like, oh my God, I was kind of panicking coming up the hill.
Yeah. Well, we made it. We're here.
We made it, and that statement is so damn true. Like, beyond that hill we climbed today, right?
So true, yeah. It's been one of those weeks for me, and we talked about this earlier, but I figured I'd call in and offer some kind of insight into
I'm grateful
what you've been talking about.
I'd love you to share that.
Yeah, so for people listening, like I went through a breakup this last week, and it kind of felt like more than just a breakup. Like it really felt like some major clearing of a lot of past stuff, even past life stuff of, relationship addiction and kind of needing someone else outside of myself to make me feel whole, to make me feel good enough, to make me feel loved or complete or whatever. And so this breakup, I knew even before it happened, was about so much more than just me and this guy, which, we'd only been dating for 5 months. It was really about this culmination of all of this past history that I had, and some of these things that I was wanting to shift, and standing in my power, speaking my truth to someone who wasn't really ready to hear it. And our relationship was kind of a lot of that, me feeling weak for showing emotion, me feeling weak for feeling kind of stupid for the things I believed in, and not being kind of honored in that way. And then finally being able to take the stand at the end and be like, listen, like, there's nothing wrong with me. Like, maybe this is just about our compatibility. You're not ready to hear what I have to say. You're not ready to step in your own life. He definitely was the epitome of just fear and worry and insecurity. And I let that affect me until I didn't anymore. And I just kind of stood up and I had to say, like, my piece and what I needed. And I told him exactly what I needed out of a relationship. And he told me that I 100% deserved that and more. And he unfortunately couldn't be the one to give it. And honestly, I mean, the way that I approached it, like, it was one of the most respectful and loving breakups that I've ever had. And even though it's been hard to actually lose that person, I feel a lot of respect and gratitude for him in my life. And I think that's a lot of what it's like to speak in your power. You kind of it feels good. It doesn't feel like drama or, any additional, like, stress or trauma out of a situation. Like, it feels like the most aligned way to, like, sever ties with someone, which is always hard no matter what, where you're at. So, yeah.
So you kind of got a taste of basically when you make that decision, because Sarah and I kind of talked about this before, and she was feeling this intuition, but when you went to make that choice to actually make that choice for self-love and to really be liberated and empowered and independently speak your truth, there was a consequence. But do you kind of feel in your highest knowing that it will lead to good for you because you actually are allowing what is no longer working to fall away so that you can create space for what you're ready for?
Absolutely. And actually, I kind of had a feeling about this, and my parents pointed it out that being in a relationship with him was almost a distraction. It kind of kept me from fully embodying the other things that I'm trying to do, with my career, with my, personal self-growth and self-love. Like, I used him as a distraction, as an excuse not to do those things. And I would just go hang out with him and watch TV instead of doing things I really wanted to be doing. And so in a way, I mean, I have used relationships to keep me from being in my power. I've purposely chosen them to kind of keep myself, like, it's an excuse not to have to do the other things that I keep saying I'm going to do. And now I feel like I've got a lot more sense of, when you're on your own, you have a sense of responsibility that you're in charge of your own life. You now are fully 100% responsible for making your life what you want it to be. And there's no relying on someone else or having someone else there to blame when things go wrong. Which I think is another thing. I was like, oh, I'm not free. I'm not feeling, supported. I'm not feeling loved. And I was able to blame that on him. But now it's like, okay, if I'm not feeling those things, it's because I'm not giving them to myself. And if I'm not getting the things I want out of life, it's because I'm not working for it. And so that's a scary place to be. And I think that's why people don't always choose their independence, because that makes them responsible for their own lives. And that's scary.
That's actually such a great point that you touch on, because that's exactly what I've observed with every form of denying responsibility, whether it's in a corporation or it's in a relationship or how someone's leading a country. At whatever level we look at it with, it could be parents with their children. There is that sense of responsibility. And when you're really being true to self, you have to step in and take that responsibility and own your choices. And I feel like the difference between an empowered being that it truly, I don't really look at success the way a lot of humans tell me to, which means you make just a lot of money or have a lot of people worship you or, you know, have a lot of stuff. But I look at true success as how empowered are you and how responsible are you for your choices? And are you aware and really claiming your stuff? Like, do you really own your stuff? And that's something I feel like you're really learning right now. Isn't that awesome?
It's awesome. And I'll reiterate like the thing that I told you earlier about just feeling this time around. Like, I've always known about the law of attraction and manifesting things, but I truly feel now that I used to want like specific outcomes, and that's what I was working for. So like, I wanted this, amount of money. I wanted this car. I wanted this boyfriend, this career. And now what I'm trying to manifest is really a state of being, like a quiet, confident, like level of peace that just kind of radiates outward and being kind of a beacon of love. And that's what I want that first. And I feel like then I can appreciate anything more material that comes my way. Because I've had a lot of material successes and not the happiness that was supposed to come with it. So.
Yay. And that's so awesome that you really see that, because some people can spend a lifetime, actually lifetimes, chasing what I call chasing the carrot. And they're always after that next fix, that next thing they need to reach, that next certificate, that next award, that next something. And honestly, it doesn't matter how much stuff we accumulate. It doesn't really make us feel at ease or really like a sense of peace, like you're saying. And so it's such an amazing thing that you're learning that right now, because I feel like it's going to help guide you more in your relationships and in whatever career direction you go. It will be more about the peace and the joy than about what you need to accumulate or who you need to impress, which is going to be so good for you. It's going to be such a shift in your experience.
I think it's a very, like I said, like this feels very important and it feels very significant, and I think that's why. So I'm just asking my angels to like continue helping me see more clearly and shift some old stuff and we're in the past, like we were saying today, and moving forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really proud of you. I actually drew a card that I feel goes so with where you are right now, Sarah. It's from my new Isis Oracle cards, and this one says, "Stay true and be in your power." And I'll just show you what it looks like. So I'm going to read this to you, and anything that feels like it really hits you, if you want to jot it down or anything, but listen to this, everyone listening, but I really feel this is also really directed at Sarah's energy right now. So this one says, "You are a sovereign divine being with spiritual authority and freedom within you. You do not need permission from anyone to be who you are or to live your life as you choose. This is your divine birthright. Guard it as the precious treasure that it is, and remember that you are a divine being. The flail and crook, often held by Osiris, are symbols of divine royalty and dominion. These symbols remind us that within we hold great dominion, spiritual authority, and freedom to be the sovereign ruler of our own self. This does not mean that we have to control life or to control others or even the environment around us. But it does give us complete and utter choice to become as spiritually awake, free, and self-determined as we wish to be, as well as providing us with complete choice as to what our values and actions will be in this lifetime. There is no permission required from anyone apart from yourself to be and live your truth. There are many voices that will test you on the journey, from illusory shackles of fear, loss, or abandonment that may hold you back or tempt you into giving your power away to others. You shall awaken from the testing into the realization of spiritual independence within. Of course, there is more to spiritual authority than just recognizing that it lies within you. There are times when you must act on it, guard it, and protect it, which means recognizing when others seek to exert influence over you for their own reasons or agenda, or when you are being manipulated out of your own authority. becoming blind to your own power of choice, and instead believing that things just are the way that they are, and that you cannot question or